Hi, welcome back to The Scent Advocate. Tonight I'm going to talk about another recent haul. The story with these hauls is I'm not usually a big fan of making haul videos. They just don't really sit well with what I want the channel to be about. It's not about large buys or purchase of a lot of different fragrances. It's really about what I want, what is important to me to add to the collection, something I'm truly interested in, not to have substance to talk about for the channel. I think I have plenty to talk about for the channel. But as it happens, I did do some shopping around Christmas time and some of the shipments were delayed. So I had to make up for those delays with other purchases, and that left me with some late deliveries, which came in over the last few days. These fragrances included. So I'm going to talk about those. I'm calling them a haul. They weren't intentionally a haul. Just keep that in mind as we move into things. So some of these are newer fragrances and some of them are vintage. Yes, I've been getting into vintage quite a bit recently as I go down the rabbit hole of niche and indie fragrances. You let me know in the comments whether you've experienced something similar. You just keep looking and deeper, and you eventually stumble on to vintage. And suddenly everything old is new again. And here I am. So that brought me to some of the fragrances I'm going to talk about today. But I will start out with some of the newer fragrances that ended up coming to me a bit later than I expected and staying with me because I made other arrangements for gifts that I knew were going to be delayed. All right, let's start out with Cuir 404 by Indult. Tested this one for a long time. I was going to give this to my mother. This is a 50 ml eau de parfum. This fragrance really captivated me. I enjoy very much a leather fragrance, but this one struck me as different. I do have a few leather, especially leather vanillas in the collection, but this one was different and I kept going back to it, and I ended up getting a 1 ml sample, then I went to 9 ml. So yeah, this fragrance is very pretty. It's a woody leather, a little bit smoky, mysterious, and aura of Kazakhstan, music of mountains. There is a similarity, and that is why I was not inclined to buy Cuir 404 for myself, because I thought there was a similarity that rendered them not duplicative, but I wouldn't have necessarily bought both. They are very similar. I think Cuir 404 is a bit brighter, but very similar to me. In any event, I knew that, and I wanted to keep the bottle, obviously, that I had of Music of Mountains. I got it first. I was absolutely blown away by not just the amazing leather, wood, smoky, wild fragrance. I mean, this is a transporting fragrance. I absolutely love the bottle. Look at this. It's a stunner, right? It's got this big copper metal plate on here. It's got a leather band. I think I did an unboxing for this. Absolutely gorgeous stuff. I think the biggest distinguishing factor between the two is the price. I believe if we look at the pricing on, say, Scent Split, where you can find both fragrances, you will see that Music of Mountains is $255 currently for 95 ml, which means it's $2.68 a ml. Indult Cuir 404 is $220 for 50 ml, and that's $4.40 a ml. So what do you do? I think with the dry down, the Music of Mountains has something of a grassier, not a dried grass, but getting there. If drying grass, like on the steppe, has a musky kind of indolic scent, then this has it. And in Cuir 404, it's there too. It's just expressed in a somewhat smoky way. They're very similar in my humble opinion. Both lean masculine, both are exceptional performers in terms of projection and longevity. You cannot go wrong with either one. If given the choice, I would not have purchased both for my collection, but that's the way it worked out. I absolutely love them. I will keep them both. I love the scent profile for both. So once again, we've got Cuir 404 by Indult and Music of Mountains by Aura of Kazakhstan. Gorgeous stuff, by the way. I think I mentioned this is 95 ml and it is an eau de parfum. Moving on to the next fragrance I acquired in my haul, for lack of a better word, it is One Seed Seeker. Completely different from other fragrances I have in my collection. This fragrance is an eau de parfum. It is 30 ml. And the notes in this fragrance are vanilla, musk, coconuts, sea salt, coriander, seeds, and ylang ylang. Now this fragrance took me a bit by surprise. It is very creamy and comforting. I think that ylang ylang, you know, can present as sort of a mashed up banana. For me, that kind of translates to my mom's banana pudding. It's just, you know, extremely delicious and comforting and just luxurious and silky. And this definitely has that. There is coconut, but I think with the ylang ylang, the blending is exquisite. And if you like, it's around here somewhere. You will probably like this. You may see it and I'm not seeing it. I don't know if it's behind me or... It reminds me of M. Micallef's Ylang in Gold, but it is different. It is a very comforting, enveloping summer beach fragrance, but not at all suntan lotion or sunscreen, not at all pina colada. You know, some of that can come off as, where is that fragrance? Now it's bothering me. Some of that can come off as a bit, I don't know, dated or maybe a little bit cheap. For me, I am not a fan, but this is exceptional. Beautiful. Okay, I found it. Here we go. It was sitting right behind me. So I'm going to compare the two. Ylang in Gold is a bit brighter. It's got something of a solar note where Seeker does not. Seeker is softer, creamier, more subtle. Both have exceptional projection and beautiful longevity. They lean feminine in my opinion. I think these are, given the heaviness of the ylang ylang and the creaminess of it, I think they could work any time of year, especially if you live in a warmer climate and your winter months are not too cold. Perfect stuff. They are pretty similar. So again, I probably wouldn't have purchased both for myself because of the similarity of the two fragrances, but they are different enough that I will not rehome either Seeker or M. Micallef Ylang in Gold. So Seeker is One Seed and Ylang in Gold. By the way, the Ylang in Gold I have here is an eau de parfum, and it is 100 ml with a very temperamental magnetic top. Be careful what you do with this. There you go. Excellent. Moving on, I want to talk more about Guerlain. I talked about this house last night and I'm talking about it again tonight. So here we have Shalimar Eau de Parfum. I had never before smelled Shalimar. Yes, it's true. And I'm a Gen Xer, so I have absolutely no excuse for why this hasn't happened until now. But this one was for me. but it was delayed in shipping, and I thought I may have to cancel it because I had no idea when we were going to get it. But it did come, and I'm very excited about it. So let's have a sniff, shall we? I heard some recent commentary about this fragrance in the eau de parfum format, that it smelled like rubber tires. And I was cringing because that's the format I bought it in. And folks were saying, if you're going to get it, get the parfum or get the eau de toilette. And it was too late. So here I was opening this up and just praying I didn't get rubber tire. And what do you think happened? I didn't. It's wonderful. I absolutely love it. Shalimar is bergamot, which is a citrus. It's got iris, rose, jasmine, and vanilla. I have heard some people say that once upon a time, the perfumer formulating Shalimar was messing around with Jiki, which I have Aki, was messing around with Jiki and spilled too much vanilla into Jiki, and thus Shalimar was born. I have absolutely no idea if that's true, but is there a similar DNA? No, not for me. This is a very citrus forward vanilla. It is an older fragrance, right? So I believe it was released in 1921, but I've also seen some write-ups indicating 1925. Anyway, this stuff is 100 years old, at least. And I think it's really special. It is unlike anything I've ever smelled before. For the heck of it, let's give Jiki a spray and compare the two. Once again, this is one I intended to buy for myself, but it was delayed. And let's put Jiki and Shalimar side by side. No, they're different. Would I put them in the same house? Does it make sense to me that they're both Guerlain? Yes. Are they different? Absolutely. I do not think that this is duplicative or overlapping. I could see how some people would say that, but I think if you get Jiki Eau de Parfum and you put it up against Guerlain's Shalimar Eau de Parfum, they are just too different, in my opinion, to say that one begets the other or is duplicative at all. In fact, I do not see that adding a little bit more vanilla to Jiki would give you Shalimar. It could be a true story for all I know. The thing about Shalimar that gets me is it reminds me of when I had my baby. And I used to go to a certain baby store. It was called Bye Bye Baby, and there was a smell. And I think it was Dreft laundry detergent that, I don't know, I used to smell it in there. And then when I used to do her laundry, I used Dreft specifically for the fragrance memory. And there is a slight nod to Dreft in here. Of course, it's not deliberate. I have absolutely no reason to believe that Guerlain has anything to do with Dreft or Bye Bye Baby. However, one reminds me of the other, and if you are a parent who ever used Dreft, you know, and this gives me that. Next, we've got Samsara. Yes, I told you in my recent Guerlain haul video that I did not get Samsara because I had ordered it and there was a delay, and I thought that perhaps I was canceling it. But I had not canceled it, and I am so glad. It was my misunderstanding of the delivery date and not theirs, and not their delay. So Samsara, this is an eau de parfum, and it is 75 ml. This came out, I believe, in 1989, and like Shalimar, I had never smelled it before. I have no idea why. I was in high school in 1989, and I don't know. I think it was probably just too much for someone my age. It was probably pretty pricey, and I had a pretty modest allowance, and there was just no way. Oh, is this lovely. Now, I have heard from some content creators that this fragrance has been reformulated. I have no knowledge one way or the other for that, but for what it is worth, this is truly stunning. Got jasmine, ylang ylang, sandalwood, and vanilla. Wow, is it special. So you've got the ylang ylang expressed in a completely different way. It's there. It's definitely there, but it is less creamy and more firm. It's more of a staunch presence in the fragrance. It's not creamy and flowy. It is a pillar among the notes. And it melds with the sandalwood so beautifully. It compensates for the jasmine, which I think if not tempered, could come off too strong. The jasmine is there and it's beautiful, but it's balanced so well. Oh, it's gorgeous. The projection on this thus far seems excellent. The longevity is also excellent. Oh, it leans feminine. I think this is probably universally likable. I've heard this described as spicy. I guess I get that a little bit, but not as much as I thought I was going to get. This is truly a masterpiece from Guerlain, and I'm so glad I purchased it. Beautiful stuff. Samsara by Guerlain. Last, we have a classic. This is Bal A Versailles. This fragrance is by Jean, and I want to get this right. I won't, but Jean Desprez, and I probably butchered it. But so what? It's amazing. My apologies. This is just, look at that sticker on the bottle. Look at the bottle. I mean, just wow. This looks vintage. So this fragrance, according to my research, came out in 1962. However, this takes you right back to Marie Antoinette. Just wow. I expected this to come off cloying and cheap. I don't know why. I don't know why. I had no real reason for thinking that. I'd only heard positive reviews of this fragrance. My mother-in-law actually had it. I had no idea she had this fragrance, and she was showing me some old pictures, and I saw it on the dresser in the guest bedroom in her house. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know why I thought I wasn't going to like this, but the notes spoke to me and there were all these positive reviews. So the notes, okay. We've got rose jasmine, ylang ylang, orris patchouli, lilac, civet, amber, benzoin, vanilla, musk, sandalwood, and leather. Yes, to all. Absolutely every last one of them expressed in a beautiful way. This beautiful fragrance. Wow. So if you like a Francesca Bianchi, if you are a fan of Papillon, if you are a fan of the Prin and specifically the Prissana fragrances from the House of Prin, but you want something with a little bit of a powdery encapsulation, this is the one for you. It's got all the cool stuff in it. That civet is there, but it's muted. It's pretty. If you can imagine that animalic note coming off as pretty, this is it. It's powdery, it's sophisticated, it's innocent, and yet it's got a little bit of sass. And on the skin, even better. It's just absolutely incredible. This is a masterpiece. Give it some love and give it a try. Unbelievable. This fragrance just blew me away. This is an eau de toilette, and I don't care. I'm going to probably buy a backup bottle. I don't have backup bottles. You realize I have no backup bottles. I will get a backup bottle of this. The price, by the way, is insanely good. For the quality of this fragrance, I cannot believe it. Check out Bal A Versailles. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous stuff. And what do you think of these fragrances, right? So I went from kind of newer to more vintage, whether it was older as of its creation date or, you know, just more vintage in its accords. Let me know what you think. This has been such an incredible stroke of luck that these fragrances came in all at once and I get to keep them. Great stuff. Have you tried any of these? If so, what do you think? Let me know in the comments, and if you like the video, please give me a like. And hey, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. I'm trying to build up the channel. Thanks for tuning in. Talk soon.